Welcome everyone, Marcelo is my name. The words barnyard, fecal, poopy-like, these are all used to describe oud. So the obvious question is, why in the world would you want to spray that? Other words are also regal, soul-warming, calming, opulent, projects beauty into the world. Now these are my words. These are extra little bits that I actually add to the joy and the glory of owning an oud fragrance. If you want to know more about why an oud fragrance is needed in your collection, have a look at this episode I created earlier. I go into the backstory of how oud is respected throughout the world, how it's actually incorporated into religious practices, even to the point it's actually mentioned in the Bible. When I first started the channel, I knew that I needed to get an oud fragrance, and I did a mistake, and this is what I want to put forward to you guys. So if I had my chance over, this is how I would do it. I wouldn't go down the path of finding perfume houses that have oud noted in their construct, but you can't detect it to the point where it's just an anchoring note. It's a really robust anchoring note that's in the fragrance, but everything else is being washed out. I compare it to playing air guitar. Sure, you might feel really cool, really going into it, but the moment they put you on stage and you try that little stunt, there's no sound, there's nothing there. The best thing to do, go buy yourself a guitar, get some lessons, and actually practice to know how to play that particular instrument. In this case here, find a beautiful oud fragrance that's not too intense, and begin to understand how that oud note plays on you. Begin to understand how it makes you feel. Begin to understand the beauty, the joy, there is something reverential about a beautiful oud fragrance, and nothing can compare when it comes to other notes in perfumery. Patchouli doesn't do it, rose won't do it, a citrus fragrance. They all bring their different pieces, but nothing like a beautiful, soul-warming oud perfume. And this is what I'd like to put forward to you guys today. Now, there are a number of beautiful perfume houses that have oud in their collection. As you can see, I'm going to focus just on XERJOFF. Probably seen the amount of content I've created on all things XERJOFF. I love XERJOFF. I love their packaging. I love their storytelling. I love how they construct their fragrances, the way that they blended, the way they work on me. I love how it makes me feel as I experience these. I also love the way it makes others who come in contact with me when they smell these fragrances and their response to me. And another thing that I love when it comes to their oud collection is that they do mention where the oud is from. So in some cases, it can be constructed in a lab, so it's a number of different notes to create that oud sort of touch to a fragrance. In this case here, XERJOFF always mention that they actually draw their oud from Laos. There's one here that's from Borneo, and I'll go into a lot more detail with that when I come to it. Now, the beautiful people of Libertine Perfumery are giving away a free bottle of XERJOFF. At the end of this video, I'll tell you more. Now, this is open to not only Australians, but across the world. If you are new to oud, I'd recommend you start with MAMLUK. Even if you have a number of oud fragrances, I'd recommend you test out MAMLUK. It's actually quite divine. I mentioned before about this heartwarming element that oud has. This one here amplifies it to that extra degree. And now, going back to my air guitar analogy, by having something like MAMLUK, you begin to feel the instrument. You're beginning to understand what this oud note is doing. You also begin to feel the strings and see what they do. It's one of my early loves, and I tell you, it just never grows old. It never grows old. On opening, you get this most divine, sweet, honey-like amber. It has this honey and caramel accord on that opening. The oud touch is very subtle. It's there, but it doesn't become very apparent very quickly. You find it more as it begins to dry down. So on that first spray, you're like, what's the big deal? What's all this talk about fecal and barnyard? Mind you, it never ever goes to that. We'll come to that in just a second. But for here, this is a warm enveloping. Think of caramel being drizzled down, opulent. It's sweet and creamy and velvety. That's what you're getting from this fragrance. On opening, for me, instant love. I've put it here as a dry down. And now you are getting a little bit more of that oud touch, but not to the full fecal degree. There's a slight intensity from much stronger wood feeling to the fragrance, but with a slight oud touch. No fecal, but definitely apparent that you're getting an oud fragrance. The evolution on MAMLUK is spectacular in that it starts off with that honey amber feeling to it, warm and inviting. It does move to these beautiful warm florals, and it has things like a jasmine. It also has osmanthus. And I love that you're not detecting these clearly. So you're not saying, oh yeah, there it is, an indolic jasmine note, but you are getting this very delicate floral coming through, and it's those two particular notes that are creating this warmth in that heart. Finally, it dries down to this wonderful woody amber place. It never goes into, as I said, that overtly fecal or oud nature to the fragrance. You can detect it, but it's not over the top. I found that the fragrance lasts forever. I'm going to say 12 hours, but the reality is you'll wake up in the morning and you will still smell MAMLUK on your body. You're going to get at least a confident 12 hours where everyone around you is smelling it, but 24, you'll wake up and you'll be able to smell that. And when it comes to its sea edge and projection, you are getting a very confident moderate. So the word MAMLUK, does this mean something? Around 800 AD, Muslim nations, they had a group of people called Mamluks. They were highly trained military fighters. They had very high social status within the kingdom. However, they were slaves. The name captures what the fragrance is about. It's this juxtaposition between two things. One, it's a soft, amber, gourmand, honey-like fragrance, but it does have a oud touch. If you're new to oud, you will detect that oudiness that's in the base of the actual fragrance. It was once described as delicately brutal. And I think this is exactly what the fragrance is. It has this boldness, but at the same time, it has a soft edge to it. It is a gourmand fragrance, but it is subdued. The oud note is there, but it's beautifully softened and curved over with those honey, gourmand, sweeter notes. As an entry-level oud fragrance, I'd strongly recommend to you MAMLUK, a brilliant place to begin and begin to detect that beautiful oud note in your fragrance. The next place that I would move across to is this gorgeous one here, AURUM. Now you'll notice there is a significant difference between the two bottles. This one here is a lot more elaborate, its lid, and on the top you can see a K. This is part of the K collection. What is the K collection? In 2014, XERJOFF launched a sister brand called Chemi. The idea was that they wanted to lean into alchemy, and that's where part of the word comes from. They want to now extract from nature in a biodynamic way. They also want to align themselves with astrological movements of the stars. I'll tell you more about that shortly. So it was a new expression, a new way to create fragrances. Then in 2023, they decided to incorporate or to amalgamate everything together, and it became part of the XERJOFF family. However, they're retaining a portion of that heritage with the lid, and in this case here, with some extra elaborations on the bottle. Now, AURUM, why would you want this? Let me give you an experience. So I had my little grandson, he was sleeping over, he's probably about 5 or 6 years old. The next morning we were going to church. Now Sandra had gone ahead of me. I was getting him ready and I thought, you know what, let's put on a nice perfume for our church experience. I saw this on the shelf and I thought, you know what, yeah, AURUM is gorgeous because it has these strawberry and chocolate notes and this beautiful floral heart with this rose. Boom, easy baby. Sprayed it on him. And I thought, wow, that smells really good. So you know what? I'm gonna follow you too. Bop, bop, bop. I sprayed myself too. Now, when we got to church, he ran ahead of me and he ran to where Sandra was sitting. And as I was walking towards Sandra, she's giving me this look like, and I thought maybe I don't know, I put on the wrong jumper or something like that. As soon as I sat down, Sandra says to me, why did you spray an oud fragrance on the boy? And I thought, wow, you can really, and I said, you can really smell that? And then all of a sudden she's like, you're wearing it too. I'm like, yeah, I'm rocking this baby. Now, further down the pew was my father. Now, my father is very particular when it comes to fragrances. Anything too strong, too overt, it's not for him. He leaned forward, he did this. So he would have been maybe 3-4 meters away from me. Now, it could have been the little guy running in and this trail, this sillage following behind him, or it could have been me, or it could have been both of us. The bottom line is there was a gorgeous oud fragrance emanating throughout this little congregation of ours. This is one that I would strongly recommend if you are also new to oud. The oud note comes out, that I've discovered, early in the piece, but then it does dry itself back. It becomes opulent on that dry down with these beautiful gourmand chocolate, strawberry, and floral notes. And I'm going to spray. This is addiction. This is, see, I don't pick up that oud note on the beginning. Although it is there. You know what it is too? Once you become familiar and accustomed to the glory of a beautiful oud fragrance, it's like when you first discover truffles. The first time you smell actually fresh truffles, you're like, whoa, that is so strong. Then you cannot wait when they're shaving that truffle on your big plate of pasta to smell that beautiful earthy aroma that is emanating from your plate. And the same happens for me with a beautiful oud fragrance. In this scenario here, the oud is not as apparent to me as it was to Sandra. And I'll go one more. The oud was not apparent to my father, who is very sensitive to these very strong notes, like patchouli just knocks his head off. Whereas here, what he was, I'm guessing, detecting was the ambery warmth of this beautiful woody-like oud fragrance. I love the evolution of this fragrance. On opening, you're getting that sweet oud note, but then on dry down, you're getting this wonderful gourmand floral notes that come through. The way the fragrance moves and evolves. It starts off with that sweet oud. It's definitely discernible, it's definitely there, but it's not over the top. It's not fecal-like. Oud is present, but there's these beautiful sweet notes that are revolving around it. It then moves to this jammy rose. There is a rose, or a Bulgarian rose, and it has this creaminess, this fruity jamminess component to it. And then when it does dry down, it goes to that beautiful floral gourmand. There are things like chocolate and strawberry and vanilla bourbon, all these notes. I mean, for me, I can't sort of pick them out. I don't really grab that strawberry note clearly, or that chocolate note comes out very distinctly, other than a beautiful gourmand touch to the fragrance. This is one for seduction. This is one for intimate moments. This is one, if you're going out on a first date, this is glorious. This is one where you want to bring a sense of comfort and a peaceful feeling around you. Hence why I chose it for our church experience. Yeah, I wanted to get everybody spiritually aligned. And as I mentioned, when it dries down, it does have a very gentle, woody touch to it. The floral notes are a lot more apparent than that oud that comes out on that opening. The letters AU on the periodic table means gold, and in Latin, AURUM means gold. So for me, this is the olfactory expression of an incredible, rare, and glorious gold style fragrance, something that is precious, something that is really sublime. I find that the sillage and projection is in that moderate confidence, so you'll get beautiful push. It will last you 12 plus hours. Again, 24. You will wake up in the morning smelling AURUM on your skin. One suggestion on all these oud fragrances, don't overspray. I only spray 3 times. That's my absolute maximum with these, and you'll find that that will take you over into the next day without a problem. The next one needs very little introduction. This is More Than Words. XERJOFF have not disclosed what the notes are, but let me just say, as a beautiful oud rose fragrance, mamita querida, this is incredible. It does open, and there it is. It's this one here. So if these two have a moderate or strong push, this is a monster. It has enormous, it's very, very high, super confident, has again 12 plus 24 hours on skin without a problem. And it has this beautiful, sweet appeal to it. I get opening notes of these fruits, and fruits like dark plum or red berries or something rich and opulent. And it comes out very strong out of the gate. Intermingled with those beautiful fruit notes is that oud touch. And now it's a lot more apparent. Where these two, not that I struggle, but they're not as pronounced to me as they used to be. Here, oud is boom, 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 it's coming forward. This is now moving through your oud journey, and I would put this, if you are now more comfortable with oud, as an incredible fragrance to test out. It starts off with this wonderful fruity oud touch. As I mentioned, those dark fruits are in there, but that oud is very distinct. Then it moves to these powdery florals, and again, I don't know the notes, but I get this iris powderiness to it. I get like there's a particular note called labdanum, and labdanum has this very deep, resinous, dark fruit, but a floral touch to it. And for me, and again, imagination or true, I get like a labdanum feel to the fragrance as it begins to dry down. Finally, it does go to a glorious woody oud place. The oud never leaves you. The oud stays, or begins from that opening and travels all the way through the fragrance. It's definitely a statement maker, and for me, I find that it's comfortably unisex fragrance, even though those fruit notes are definitely there and there are floral notes in the fragrance. That oud, the balance is perfect when it comes to these other notes that are playing there. I find that these two here can lean a little bit more on the feminine side. Easily a man can wear, but the sweeter gourmand notes are definitely more apparent. Whereas here, the balance is just perfect. It's just aligning itself wonderfully for a man or woman to wear. This is my son, Nelson's, favorite oud fragrance. I have a library system here in the office where I allow my friends, family, and co-workers to actually take bottles and use them. And he hits this bottle hard. He actually borrows it quite regularly. It's almost like a signature scent for him. He has mentioned many times, he does use it as his statement maker fragrance when he's going to conferences, things of that nature. He loves wearing more than words because it commands attention. And he even says to me, people can detect his fragrance. They'll say, whoa, that is one gorgeous oud fragrance that you're wearing. So the oud is definitely apparent, but not over the top. Again, 3 sprays, more than enough. As I mentioned earlier, I love the XERJOFFs because of all the different elements that are applied. It's more than just a fragrance. And I know that it's also part of marketing, but as a consumer, I do love it. I do love these elements that are part of the storytelling when it comes to the fragrance. One thing that Sergio Momo, who is the owner of the business, loves doing is connecting his passion for things of the world, music, into what he does. One thing that I have always spoken about is, what is this lid about? I mentioned earlier that this, in fact, is a fountain pen. I know that Sergio is a deep lover of notebooks and things of that nature. So this, in turn, is the olfactory writing instrument for your life. As you smell this fragrance for a special occasion, it will remind you of that moment. Okay. Well, I recently, and I want to thank the subscriber who actually connected me to the video, discovered the meaning behind the actual lid in the words of Sergio Momo. Turns out that in Turin, there is the largest collection of archaeological finds from Egypt. And one of them is this beautiful hat, which represents royalty. In Sergio's own words, he's connecting that this is a regal product. Another thing he loves doing is connecting to astrological phenomena. One of the collections that he has, shooting stars, you get a small meteorite is included in the fragrance. Now, what has that got to do with perfume? Well, very little, but it's part of the passion of Sergio, and he's now sharing that with you. All right, let me bring you to the next fragrance, which is ether, but it's also referred to as blue ether, also part of the K collection. But why is it different? If you look at AURUM, the bottle is brown, but there's no markings on it, whereas ether, or blue ether, has this very intricate design. And when you look closely, you'll see that it is actually in referencing an astrological signs, moons and suns and things of that nature. On the 13th of March, 2023, there was a cosmic event called the Blue Cosmic Storm. If you look at this actually is recorded from NASA, and it shows the sun in which it exploded this matter into the universe. Now, I get it. It's part of marketing, but at the same time, here is this event, which actually was predicted on the Mayan calendar. So this is how the whole thing is integrated. And on that particular day, as the marketing says, and you have a look on the website, they actually poured the blue ether bottles. True? Don't know. But cool story? 100%. The idea is that it gives the fragrance an extra cleansing power. True, not true, I don't know. I bought into the marketing of it. But if you push that aside, okay, if you want to go, whatever, cool. The fragrance stands on its own 2 feet. And now here, the fecal barnyard elements that you hear about oud is very, very apparent. It opens up with a very pungent oud note, almost to the point as if someone had passed wind. And I know this because one thing that we do as a family, we go annually away. Mom and dad, as in me and my wife, We book a couple of apartments, we go out into the country, and I always love taking a range of fragrances. Ether was part of that collection. We were having breakfast one morning. I walked into the kitchen, my son and my wife was there, and I'm like, whoa, somebody just passed wind. And I'm like, and then I thought, there's no way that someone here, my adult son and my wife, would actually pass wind while we're preparing food. And then I'm like, and I asked Nelson, did you spray ether? He goes, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's beautiful. So the opening has a very distinct fecal-like quality to it. It is actually very poopy-like. But it's gorgeous. Just like when you open up a wonderful blue cheese or something that is that has this maturity to it, the smell just makes you, well, it makes me happy to smell that, these beautiful French cheeses, and smell the sassiness of that. I mean, I cannot wait to put that on bread and just enjoy it. This is one that is so complex. There's so many things going on here. I do recommend you spray on skin. Card is a little bit singular, and I find that the way it begins, the way it moves, the evolution is actually quite lengthy. So some fragrances you find that they start in a particular place and then like 5 minutes later, boom, they've moved to something else. Whereas here, it really sort of does this slow, elaborate sort of dry down and gives you different facets to the fragrance. As I mentioned on opening, and here's the other thing, I don't detect that fecal-like quality like I used to. And you'll find that as your nose gets better, again, moving away from playing air guitar and actually playing the instrument, the more you discover these fragrances, the more your nose becomes accustomed to it. The more you understand the beauty of it, its subtlety. I find that when this opens up, it does have a very pungent woods. You can detect I guess the stinkiness of that oud, but you're also getting these other wood elements coming through. It then goes into this herbal forest scent profile to it. It has things like cypriol, lavender. It has like a fir. You're getting a forest-like quality to it. And finally, it does settle into these sweet woods. The earlier notes of that oud and that strong sort of pungent fecal-like quality has come off completely from the fragrance, to the point where you actually think you're wearing two different fragrances because of those more resinous and pine and wood-like quality to the fragrance. It does lean a little bit more masculine, but easily a woman can wear this fragrance. I find that the longevity on ether is a comfortable 12+ hours. Again, you wake up in the morning, you will be smelling ether on your body. And when it comes to its sea-agent projection, you're getting a very confident moderate. It does have great push. It does come back a little. So unlike, say, More Than Words, where it stays in this very strong, confident place, ether does pull itself backwards. Does it have a cleansing, energetic effect? Yes. I'd never really sort of considered it too deeply that, does it change my mood? I do find that ether has a lot more of a spring in my step. I do feel a lot more vibrant when I'm wearing this one. And if you want one that is perfect for summer, then ether is the one for you. The next one needs no introduction from me. I deem this as the one that connects me to the universe. My wife, whenever I say that, my wife rolls her eyes, almost like hits the back of her head. It's an outrageous comment. I get that. It's something, and you know the funny thing is, when I said that, it wasn't premeditated. I was talking to a friend, I was showing them different fragrances. I came to Alexandria II, I went, bop, smell that, and as soon as I smelt it in the air, I said that outrageous comment, this one here connects me to the universe. There is something in this fragrance, and I don't know. I go back to what I said at the start, and that is that I find that a beautiful oud fragrances gives you a certain level of calm and strength. It actually communicates opulence and this regality, this feeling of seriousness. And I feel that everything is embodied in that when it comes to Alexandria II. Now, when I first experienced this fragrance, I did not like it. I'm like, what in the world is this? I went too deep, too fast. When I first experienced it, I detected that oud note very quickly, whereas now I'm getting the sweet notes and the lavender and all these other pieces. I still detect that oud, but it comes in much later. Okay, how does this compare to Anniversary? This is a whole new expression. In 2012, Alexandria II was launched, and now in 2024, Anniversary has come out. Now I am wearing it. This is my fragrance of choice for today. At first, I'm like, what in the world? What is going on here? For some reason, I expected that it was going to be a much more rounder and softer expression of Alexandria II, that it was going to be a lot denser and richer. And yes, all those points of the actual play in the fragrance, but it's a whole new expression. It almost feels like you've graduated from university, from college, whatever it may be. You've put in all those hard years, all that study. You went through the exams, and you aced everything. You just bossed it. You're there, you're in your gown and you're throwing in a hat, and then you wake up and you realize that the whole thing was just a dream. For me, when I first experienced Anniversary, it felt a little bit like that. Here I was thinking that I'm such a big boy because I now enjoy all these different ouds, and yeah, I can appreciate the fecal-like quality. And then I came across Anniversary, and I'm like, what is that note? What's that playing in the background? To the point, I thought that maybe something was wrong, meaning that there was something in there that wasn't quite right, that like, what in the world are we smelling here? It's a lot more cheesy-like, a lot more animalic, a lot more, definitely a lot more present when it comes to the oud. If you now are an oud lover, then Alexandria II Anniversary is just gorgeous for you. You'll find that the difference between these two is Alexandria II has those sweet notes. It does invite you into the fragrance. It does make you feel a sense of warmth and calm and connect you to the universe. Whereas Anniversary is now about waking you up. It's now about becoming a lot more present when it comes to those animalic notes that are in the fragrance. That sweetness and that green apple note that was originally in Alexandria II is no longer found in Anniversary. In fact, it's been replaced with a cumin note and some cardamom. Then the lavender that you find in Alexandria II has been completely removed. In place, you have a civet. And then finally the oud. The oud that XERJOFF uses across all their different fragrances are listed as oud from Laos, whereas here Anniversary uses an oud from Borneo. I have detected the presence of a much more cheesy, fecal-like, pungent scent profile, and they're attributing that to that oud from Borneo. The experience of these two fragrances are worlds apart, where this starts off this beautiful sweet, and then the lavender, and then the oud touch. On the contrary, when Anniversary opens up, it has this very dry, animalic profile to it. I'm going to say that cumin is definitely playing a part in that. The oud comes forward very quickly. It then moves across to this woody oud place. You are feeling a lot more of the woods coming forward. The florals and lavender and aromatics that were here, they're not as present. To the point, I'm going to go as far as saying I'm not getting in them at all. I know that there is a rose in here. I don't get that rose as distinct as I did when it comes to Alexandria II. Finally, it dries down to this just gorgeous, opulent, rich oud fragrance. It's not one that I can bury my nose in, so I'm wearing it today. The oud note is distinct. And then I know that there is civet, and I am getting a little bit more of that musky sass. I find that where Alexandria II connected me to the universe, Anniversary, I am now the king of the universe, or the god of the universe. Don't strike me down any lightning. But you do feel you get heightened when it comes to its sense of power. Kevin, for those who might know and do a lot of work alongside Kevin, he loves Alexandria II. This is one of the fragrances that he always says got him into niche very early on as a young man. Now, I was wearing Anniversary. We had gone out, and he's like, bro, I don't know what you're wearing, but that thing is gorgeous. I can tell it's an oud fragrance, but which one are you wearing? So you can see the difference between the two. A fragrance that he's very familiar with versus something that just had another element to it. My warning is this. If you are not comfortable with oud, I don't recommend you start here. In fact, you obviously start down here, but you can go into Alexandria II and sense what a beautiful oud fragrance will do. And then ideally, go into the masterclass that is Anniversary. Bada bing. These are some gorgeous oud fragrances. Yes, they're all from the XERJOFF family. There, as I mentioned earlier, there is a lot of beautiful oud fragrances. I do like the way XERJOFF do things. So I double down on these guys. Now, Libertine are doing an incredible promotion in the coming weeks. All you have to do is buy any XERJOFF product and you'll go into the draw to win the new Neo Rio. You choose your color that you would like. As we get closer to that promotion, I'll announce it again and give you the dates and also the requirements. Thanks everyone. Look forward to your comments and we'll see you guys all on the next episode.